Okay, well, Ruby Ben is what I used to call her all the time. And she used to always get on to me for calling her Ruby Ben. She said, my name is just Ruby. And she married, her dad married my grandmother, which made her my dad's stepsister. And she was my only aunt on my dad's side. And I didn't know her that well. I met her a few times on and off, but then when I graduated boot camp from the Marine Corps, Ruby came out to my graduation with my mom and dad and my family, and she came out to see me, and she was so happy for me for graduating for boot camp, and she was so proud of me. And you know, Ruby, she's all giggly and happy, and you know, makes you feel like you're the only one around that's special, you know, and that she loves you so much. And she just made me feel, you know, very much at home there, because when I turned around from that, I was stationed at Camp Pendleton, California, which is just south of where she lived in Downey, California. And so she told me that I could come up there and visit and stay with her anytime I wanted to, on the weekends, during weeknights if I wanted to. She gave me my own room that I could use. And I was stationed there for 2.5 years, so I got to go up and visit with her a whole lot. She always kept a lot of food in the pantry for me and in the fridge for me. She cooked for me many times, and she always complained about how picky of an eater I was. And she just couldn't believe how picky I was. And she always complained about it, but she'd still make me whatever I asked, you know, for her to make me. She let me wash my clothes at her place. You know, being a young man in the Marine Corps, I didn't like doing laundry. That's one thing she said she wouldn't do for me. She would not do my laundry. So I had to do my own laundry. I couldn't believe it. So I threw it all in there together, you know, my white clothes, my colored clothes. And she walked in one time and saw me doing that, and she about had a fit because I was throwing my colored and my white clothes together. And of course, I didn't bleach anything, and I didn't think it needed to be bleached. But she did not like that a bit, and she was very vocal about telling me that I shouldn't be doing that. I continued doing it anyway because, you know, being a young man in the Marine Corps, and Ruby was always giving her opinion about things. I was a little bit rowdy back then, you know. I should have listened to her more than I did and everything, but she knew I loved her. I remember her and I would sit down at night, and the only time that I could get her to sit down and watch TV was when she was watching wrestling. She loved wrestling, you know, and other time she sat down to watch TV, she would fall asleep. I mean, she couldn't watch TV for 2 minutes and she'd be over there snoring. But anyway, we would watch wrestling on TV, and here my aunt was, this little sweet, lovable, mild-mannered woman, you know, that was just so friendly and loving and kind to everybody. But as soon as we turned on the wrestling, she would be like, get him, kill him, beat him up, throw him across the ring, don't let him get you like that, put him in a headlock, come on, you. And it was funny, and not only did she do it, she was doing all these movements, you know, and she was hit him, do it. So I spent more time watching her watching wrestling than I did watching wrestling myself, because it was so comical. So anyway, when she lived there, Lou and Dave and Tiffany and Desiree lived across the street. And you know, I was away from home and I was lonely. I didn't have any family, and it sure was nice to visit with Lou and Dave and the girls, and to go places with them and to spend time with them, because they made me seem like I was really part of the family, and that was great. Between Ruby and Lou and Dave and the girls, it made life bearable for the 2.5 years I was in California. So I very much appreciated that. You know, when I was out there with Ruby, you know, she had all of her friends, and Betty was out there, and Drusilla, and a bunch of them. I can't remember all of them. We'd always play cards or dominoes or something like that. And here I was, 23 to 25 years old, in the Marine Corps, a real tough guy, you know, going and playing with all these old women. Well, at the time I thought they were all old. You know, I was in my early 20s. And, you know, of course they'd beat me like crazy in all these games because they were really good and I was really bad, still am. But it was so much fun and everything, and I spent so much fun, and they joked around with me so much and made me feel comfortable, and that wouldn't happen if Ruby wouldn't have taken me in and started showing me around and making me feel comfortable. And you know, I was starting to have sympathy hot flashes, you know, because I was around them so much and everything, and they'd always laugh. I would always give Ruby massages, and she would fall asleep every time. And even the last time I went to go give her a massage, when we went to go visit her in March, I gave her massages and she fell asleep, you know, then too, you know, and it just wiped her out. But she always did that. Later on in years, I would call her and I would ask her, you know, hey, how are you doing and things, and she would just, oh, I'm fine. But then she would immediately go into asking me, how's your family? How's everybody doing? And then after that, she would ask me, are you still doing your ministry? Are you still going out preaching? Are you still giving out gospel tracts? Are you still telling people about Jesus and how they can go to heaven and not go to hell? And she was so excited about that. She is such an encouragement. Most people nowadays, they're not like that, you know, and Christians, and I wish they were. But she was such an encouragement to me, always encouraging me to go out and preach and be a witness for Christ. And that meant so much. And I'm going to miss her a lot because I loved her so much. I still do. And it's just one of those things that I know she's in heaven, so I'm really happy. And I know I'm going to see her again. She'd always tell me, I'm going to get there before you, I'm sure, so I'll be waiting on you. And so I really miss her. And she had such a gift about making people feel special and loved, and told them that God loved them and everything. So I can't wait to see her again in heaven, and I will. And if anybody's watching this and they're not a Christian, I encourage them to surrender their life to Christ and get to be a Christian so that you can go to heaven. And for another, you know, well, you're supposed to go to heaven because you love God and want your sins forgiven. But a bonus there, you'll get to see Ruby again, you know. So, but anyway, that's just in a nutshell. I love the woman so much, and she meant so much to me, and I'm glad we were able to go see her 2 months ago, right before she passed away. So that was nice. So
Brad and I got married 22 years ago, and I've only seen Ruby face to face 4 times, but I've talked to her on the phone over the years, and from the very first time I met her, she just welcomed me like I had been family forever. And she treated my kids like they were part of the family, even though they were stepkids to Brad, and except for our daughter, of course. But she always just treated us like family, and she loved me genuinely, and I loved her genuinely, and I'm gonna miss her. She was a great lady.
So we're sorry we can't make it to the service, but just know that we love Ruby and that we're thinking about everyone and we're praying for you guys.
I can't wait to see her again.
Yeah, love you.